Business news now then here on the programme. Bit of a surprise move, in fact. This is by the Bank of England to shore up the UK economy that's been hit already by coronavirus. And our business editor, Stephen Carroll, is with us here on set. You've got all the details for us, Stephen.
Stuart, we had been expecting an interest rate cut, but we weren't expecting it today. It wasn't a scheduled event for the Bank of England, but it has slashed interest rates from 0.75% to just 1/4. And that brings rates back to their lowest level since the Brexit referendum. It's also the first emergency rate cut since 2008. The US Federal Reserve took a similar step last week, also over coronavirus. The bank says the move will help support businesses and consumer confidence at a difficult time as financial market uncertainty has reached extreme levels. It comes ahead of the unveiling of the budget by the British government later, which is expected to include spending measures designed to ease the impact of the virus outbreak too. Now, that news weakening sterling on the markets, the pound down against the dollar and the euro. Not extreme moves, but nonetheless a weakening of sterling, which usually happens when you cut interest rates. So some effect already being felt there on the currency markets. Let's take a look at the stock market reaction. London's FTSE 100 opening up at the start of trading today, up around 1.5%. A similar move across the European markets as well. Of course, weaker sterling helping exporting firms listed on the FTSE 100. That'll be adding into the share boost there. But it's banks that are among the big gainers on European markets. Investors now be watching the European Central Bank closely. It's due to meet tomorrow to see if it takes any similar decisions on helping the economy weakened by the coronavirus. In trading in Asia earlier, we saw a sharp fall towards the end of trading on Japanese markets. The Nikkei in Tokyo finishing down at its lowest level since the end of 2018. Investors there trying to make some gains and take profits there as the ongoing volatility has made trading very confusing and difficult for many of those investors. Now, talks are ongoing in Washington too over an economic stimulus plan to tackle the effects of the coronavirus outbreak there. At the centre of the discussions is a payroll tax cut, but Democrats say there are better ways of targeting relief. Among Republicans, there are calls for aid which would help small businesses cover the cost of sick leave for employees. Vice President Mike Pence says progress was made in Tuesday's talks.
We want to make sure that hourly workers, hardworking blue-collar Americans that may not have paid family leave today, that small and medium-sized businesses in America would be afforded the resources to provide paid leave so that no one would feel that they have to go to work if they might be infected or if they might have been exposed to the coronavirus. We had a good reception on Capitol Hill. Our legislative teams have fanned out. We're going to be working with Republican and Democrat leadership to move an economic package.
Here in France, major companies have been putting in place their plans to keep businesses running if their workers are infected or quarantined. The majority of listed companies now have a contingency plan, which include an increase in remote working and separating teams to limit the risk of transmission. Nick Rushworth reports.
Among French companies with infected members of staff is the telecoms giant Orange. The affected employees do not have contact with the public. The situation, though, is a source of concern for unions.
There has been a rise in tension and worry in the company. There are extra demands for hygiene safety.
The company acknowledges there are cases of COVID-19 infection without saying how many. In a statement, Orange says it has implemented all the health measures necessary for these members of staff and their colleagues in coordination with health authorities. French companies generally are implementing a range of measures, including social distancing, keeping people a metre apart, as seen here at a press conference by carmaker PSA. Other measures include cancelling business trips, smaller staff meetings, and readying staff to take their computers home with them if where they work has to close suddenly. France's energy company EDF says it plans to rotate teams to continue operations in the case up to 4 out of 10 of its employees go on sick leave. One legal firm is planning much the same.
In a given department, we will set up Team A to do teleworking at home and Team B to work on site, and we will switch those teams around the following day. That reduces the risk for staff.
Most of France's listed companies say they have plans in place to keep up and running if their workers are infected.
Now, Google has asked its 100,000 staff in North America to work from home as it tries to limit the spread of the virus among its employees. The internet giant had previously given similar advice to workers in Dublin and some of its other major hubs. The company's head of global security said it was making the decision out of, quote, an abundance of caution. It comes after other tech companies have given workers advice to work from home as well. Apple CEO Tim Cook this weekend encouraging those at several offices to work from home if their jobs allowed this week. We also had Twitter telling many of its employees to work from home as well. We're still here, though.
Yes, I can say I could present from home with all my washing behind me. Why not? Steve Carroll of France 24.